President Donald Trump today named Kevin Warsh as successor to Jerome Powell as Federal Reserve Chair. The decision culminates a process that officially began last summer, a period in which Trump continued to criticize the Powell-led Fed. The selection of Warsh, aged 55, is considered prudent and likely to be viewed as less contentious due to his prior experience with the Federal Reserve and Wall Street's confidence in his ability to effectively address potential pressures. As a former Federal Reserve Governor, Warsh is expected to also facilitate expected reforms efficiently, leveraging his extensive knowledge of institutional processes. Additionally, he is anticipated to adopt a relatively dovish approach. Prior to the appointment of Kevin Warsh as the incoming Federal Reserve Chair, the U.S. Federal Reserve maintained interest rates at their current levels. That was yesterday. Rate-setting officials indicated no inclination toward rate reductions, notwithstanding increased pressure from Trump. This hold follows 3 consecutive quarter-point decreases, keeping the benchmark federal funds rate within the 3.5 to 3.75% range. Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell expressed optimism regarding the outlook for the U.S. economy, citing robust consumer spending and significant investment in artificial intelligence data center development as contributing factors. Powell further noted that inflation has aligned with expectations and labor market indicators demonstrate signs of stabilization. Hello, this is Global Business Insights, where we look at the world from a business perspective and bring you views and analysis that helps to navigate the somewhat turbulent context. AstraZeneca has entered a licensing deal with CSPC Pharmaceuticals worth up to $4.7 billion to develop weight loss and diabetes drugs, strengthening the role in China's market. The agreement includes a $1.2 billion upfront payment and up to $3.5 billion for meeting certain milestones. AstraZeneca will access a monthly injectable in early trials and 3 other potential drugs with global rights excluding China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. Germany's economy grew by 0.3% in the final quarter of 2025, improving from a flat result in the third quarter and surpassing market expectations of 0.2% growth. Survey data now indicates a more optimistic outlook for the Eurozone, with business sentiment in January reaching its highest level in 20 months and manufacturing confidence at nearly a 4-year peak. The industrial sector appears to be stabilizing. Unemployment remains close to historic lows, and inflation is steady at the European Central Bank's 2% target. Germany's increased investment in infrastructure and defense, although slow to begin, is expected to significantly contribute to economic growth starting in the second quarter, putting an end to 3 years of stagnation and likely benefiting other European economies as well. This week saw notable developments in big tech. Amazon is said to be considering an investment of up to $50 billion in OpenAI, part of a broader fundraising effort targeting $100 billion. If the deal goes through, OpenAI may increase its use of Amazon Web Services and Trainium chips for cloud computing and AI processing. OpenAI has plans to spend nearly $500 billion over the next 4 years advancing AI technology, and it might even go public later this year. As investment in artificial intelligence surges, tech investors are increasingly looking for a clearer connection between profits and expenditures. Microsoft shares dropped 12% yesterday, extending a 3-month decline that totals around 22%, making it the company's largest single-day loss in nearly 5 years. This despite surpassing Wall Street's forecasts for sales and earnings in the latest update for the quarter ending December. Microsoft reported a slowdown in its core cloud computing business. The company also mentioned that its Azure division, which serves as a barometer for global AI demand, is expected to maintain its current 38% growth rate this quarter, even after significant capital investments over the last 2 years. Meta Platforms beat Wall Street's Q4 expectations for both revenue and earnings, citing an 18% rise in ad impressions thanks to AI-driven improvement. CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced plans to invest up to $135 billion in AI this year, an 87% increase over last year. Meta shares jumped 9.9% on Thursday, hitting their highest point since late October. Like we said, analysts are increasingly scrutinizing the fundamental drivers of value within major technology companies, particularly as their core businesses seem to be diverging in terms of the narrative that we are hearing. Meta's business continues to center on monetizing user attention, and the company's strategy of substantial investment in artificial intelligence has yielded tangible results with increased user engagement leading directly to greater ad impressions and consequently higher revenue. This clear cause and effect relationship between investment and business performance underscores Meta's ability to generate immediate returns. In contrast, Microsoft's narrative appears less compelling at present. The company's primary offering is computing capacity, yet it has encountered capacity constraints that have prevented it from fully meeting client demand. Additionally, long-term initiatives such as expanding Copilot capabilities may be consuming resources vital to servicing current computing needs. As a result, investors are left questioning the direct benefits of these investments to Microsoft's core business, especially when compared to the more immediate returns seen at Meta. Apple's story is notably more straightforward. The company continues to attract new customers, particularly for the flagship iPhone range. In the recent quarter, Apple reported earnings of $2.84 per share on revenue of $143.8 billion, surpassing expectations of $2.67 per share and $138.4 billion in revenue. The core iPhone business achieved its best ever quarter with a successful launch of the iPhone 17, boosting smartphone revenue by 23% year-on-year during the 3 months ending in December. This propelled overall revenue growth to 16%, exceeding the company's guidance of 10 to 12%. Notably, sales in the key Chinese market rose by 38% year-on-year, and net income for the quarter reached $42 billion, well above forecasts. Apple's services division, which includes the App Store, Apple Pay, and iCloud, also set a new record at $30 billion in revenue. The clearly defined relationship between Apple's investments and its profitability provides the company with a distinct competitive advantage. Apple also announced that it has acquired Israeli startup Q.ai, known for technology that reads facial expressions to interpret silent speech, in a deal worth nearly $2 billion, its second largest acquisition. The move aims to boost Apple's position in wearable AI devices. Significant developments are occurring in Africa this week. Nigerian fintech firm Paga has announced that it will facilitate PayPal users' ability to receive funds in Naira. This signifies the return of the US payments giant to Nigeria after several decades. During proceedings in UK courts, the prosecutor in a bribery case alleged that former Nigerian Oil Minister Diezani Alison Madueke was provided with luxury items by individuals who appeared to anticipate she would leverage her position to benefit them. In the Nigerian oil and gas industry, Chevron and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, have announced the discovery of oil in a shallow water asset located in the Niger Delta region. This finding is expected to support initiatives aimed at increasing production by 146,000 barrels of oil per day. Zijin Gold, a major Chinese mining company, has agreed to acquire Allied Gold, a Canadian firm with extensive operations across Africa, for $4 billion. In 2025, worldwide demand for gold hit a record high, spurred by geopolitical instability and unprecedented levels of investment interest. Libya's central bank is suing Zimbabwe's finance minister and national oil company for more than $100 million in the UK over a breach on the terms of a 2001 credit facility agreement. In a shocking data release, Zimbabwe's inflation rate decelerated for the sixth month to 4.1% in January 2026 compared to December's 15%. Inflation rate in Zimbabwe averaged 43.73% from 2009 until 2026. Guinea's bauxite exports rose by 25% last year, mainly to meet China's demand. Used in aluminium production and other industries, bauxite is vital to Guinea's economy. In 2023, Guinea overtook Australia as the world's top exporter, with 3/4 of its shipments going to China. All this as mineral-rich African countries seek to grow local processing of their metals. Zambia has secured the final tranche of its $1.7 billion IMF program, marking significant progress for the country. As the first African nation to default on its debt during the COVID-19 pandemic, Zambia is currently restructuring about $13 billion in loans, including substantial obligations to Chinese creditors. The IMF recently noted that while Lusaka's overall performance has been broadly satisfactory, the nation continues to face a high risk of both overall and external debt crisis. The upcoming Critical Minerals Summit in Washington next week aims to strengthen the U.S. position against China's influence in African mineral supply chains. President Felix Tshisekedi of Democratic Republic of Congo and ministers from Guinea, Kenya, and Zambia will attend as the U.S. discusses strategic partnerships. Secretary of State Marco Rubio noted this builds on previous Biden administration initiatives related to critical minerals. Oil prices declined following a 3-day rally. However, they remain poised for notable weekly gains as concerns over potential U.S. military action against Iran continue to unsettle markets. Brent crude fell 1.8% to $68.32 per barrel after surpassing $70 in prior trading sessions. Gold and silver prices fell after hitting record highs a day earlier as investors book profits after a record-breaking rally this year. The yellow metal remained around 20% higher year to date. Asia Pacific stocks also mostly fell, tracking losses overnight in the S&P 500 and tech-heavy Nasdaq. Markets will be reacting to the naming of incoming U.S. Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, gauging to what extent the independence of the institution will be affected by the nomination. Well, that's it on this special edition of Global Business Insights. This is Bode Oshosami. Please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.